j'en sais rien, quelque part si je suis matérialiste, mais en tout cas, l'épopée du Christ, la nouvelle alliance, le saut qualitatif dans l'histoire que ça a imposé, les valeurs que ça a imposé à 1 milliard de gens, fait que je me dis, je me fous de savoir, c'est comme de savoir si Molière était Molière et si Shakespeare était Shakespeare. Voilà, il y a les œuvres de Shakespeare, il y a les œuvres de Molière et il y a l'épopée christique.
L'homme ne va pas vers Dieu, c'est Dieu qui vient vers l'homme. L'homme est incapable de se sauver, c'est Dieu qui vient le chercher, mais avec une chose à faire.
Un jour, tais-toi, un jour Dieu il va dire tous les croyants, chrétiens, musulmans, arrête de faire l'esclave devant le fils de Satan, Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Écoute-moi, n'aie pas peur, laisse-moi parler, écoute-moi. Après je vais partir, écoute-moi. Strauss-Kahn, c'est l'envoyé du diable. Écoute-moi, n'aie pas peur, écoute-moi. Bientôt, il va retourner dans son terrier à ras d'Israël. Écoute-moi. Il va retourner en Israël. Il va appeler tous les fils de Satan. Venez, les fils de Satan, on va danser, va violer les gens. Écoute-moi. Quand tous ces fils de Satan, ils vont être rassemblés là-bas, Dieu, il va se retourner vers tous les croyants comme ça. Il va dire, allez-y, j'ai rien vu. Ce jour-là, wallah, sa mère, tu vas comprendre. Hitler, c'était un gentil garçon, tu vas voir. C'était pas l'islam, attention. Mais ça partait d'un bon sentiment. C'est-à-dire, quand tu es face à Satan, sa mère, il n'y a pas d'histoire de traité. Le couteau, la gorge, il n'y a pas de...
Realize that when you join the Masons, you become yoked to sterling citizens like this. This is a list of all of the prominent occultists of the 20th century. All the witches, all the ceremonial magicians, all of the Satanists, all of the Theosophists and New Agers that are really movers and shakers of late 19th and early 20th century. Every single one of them was a Mason, a very high-level Mason. Now what does that tell you? I knew many people, and now most of these are now deceased, probably frying in hell. But even in my lifetime, when I was a Mason, I knew many fellow Masons that were occultists, that were devil worshippers. Now, if you're a Mason and you're a Christian, you're yoked to those people by a spiritual tie that's much stronger than any rope. And what does the Bible tell us in 2 Corinthians 6? It says, be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. What fellowship hath light with darkness? What concord hath Christ with Belial? It's that simple. You are yoked with a bunch of devil worshippers. And if you are a Mason, you need to repent of that and get out of it, because it's like a stinking, dead albatross around your neck. And not only is it dragging your Christian walk down if you really are saved, it's dragging your family down and your children down through generational curses.
La franc-maçonnerie, pour certains, c'est un peu comme les drogues douces. Vous savez, on prend du cannabis en disant c'est pas dangereux. Et puis après, on va vers l'héroïne, la cocaïne, des choses bien pires. Et là, c'est un peu pareil, quand on est entré dans cette démarche ésotérique, on devient curieux. Je l'étais sans doute avant un peu, mais je suis devenu de plus en plus curieux, si bien qu'avec mon épouse, on est entré dans l'ordre rosicrucien à Morques, qui parle de choses surnaturelles quand même si c'est pas les bonnes. Et puis on a appris la radiesthésie, le magnétisme, on a fait du spiritisme, enfin toutes sortes de choses. Quand le malin nous entraîne dans ce genre d'activité, il est débordant de joie et il nous pousse vers des tas d'autres activités. Et je suis devenu aussi, j'ai appris des techniques de guérison et je suis devenu membre des guérisseurs de France, du GNOMA. Donc j'ai exploré pas mal les techniques de guérison de ces personnes-là, que je ne condamne pas, mais dont je condamne les pratiques. Eux, ce sont souvent des braves gens, mais ce qu'ils font n'est pas toujours recommandable. Ils ne savent pas, ils n'ont pas les connaissances d'ailleurs pour savoir ce qu'ils font eux-mêmes et savoir que ce qu'ils font pour aider quelqu'un, ça se paye. Parce que le malin est capable de singer Dieu, il est capable de guérir des gens, mais ça se paye. C'est-à-dire qu'après, vous avez insomnie, angoisse, suicide, séparation du couple ou autre maladie beaucoup plus grave qui apparaît 3 ou 4 mois après. Moi, j'ai vu des cancers foudroyants chez des gens qui avaient été chez un guérisseur, qui avaient été soulagés très bien, immédiatement. Et donc, ils se sont dit, ça marche, c'est comme le spiritisme, ça marche. mais danger, hein, il y a énormément de danger dans le spiritisme aussi, ça marche, ça fonctionne, c'est-à-dire qu'on a un dialogue avec, soi-disant, des esprits, en fait, pour moi, on a un dialogue avec Satan.
In praying to demon spirits.
A fellow that had been on a particular ship with me, he told me, hey, I got something fantastic to tell you. He said, I am affiliated with people that speak with the spirits of the dead. How would you like to talk to the spirit of your dead mother? And I was shocked. I was shocked. He said, you wouldn't be afraid of talking to the spirit of your dead mother, would you? Well, I said, I'll tell you what, I would have to give that some thought. That's something I never thought about before in my life.
Most of us probably haven't. A little afraid of something like that.
Well, he says, you know, it's written all over your face. You're afraid of going to a seance. But he says, I know you. You're going to come. And then he started telling me how brave I was when I was aboard ship, you know, different things. He says, you're not the same man, you're changed. You're chicken. That's all I needed to hear. I said, when do we go to a seance? So one Saturday evening, we were in the place. It was the very first time, very beautiful. The place, a medium, was a lady. She had a gorgeous new home in Montreal. And there were about 20 invited guests there, which I was one of them. And she communicated with the spirits for different people there. And they're telling them what the spirit said. One man said, I would like to talk to my friend that died 6 months ago. But I don't want him to appear. Just want to talk to him. Because he says, I don't trust you talking to my friend for me. So the medium says, let me inquire of the spirit. Yeah, the spirit will talk with you. And that big masculine voice was heard in the place. It says, hi Frank, it's nice of you to ask for me to talk with you. And they had a little chat. And after it was over, Frank says, this is the greatest thing on earth, to be able to talk with the spirits of the dead. Then the medium said, we have a very special surprise tonight for you people. A spirit will manifest itself openly here in a few minutes. And it's like a big gust of wind hit the building. And right through the wall. And the lights weren't terribly bright, but they were like living room lights. A couple of floor lamps and maybe some of these. And that translucent being seemed to come right out of the wall.
How did you feel right at that moment?
It's almost like my heart stopped a little bit. You know, very weird feeling. So it was a lady in a beautiful evening gown, soaring. And she said to Mary, my dear sister, you are so wonderful to have asked for me. And Mary fainted and fell right off her chair on the floor. And a couple of guys jumped up and picked her up, and spirit gone. that was the beginning of it.
That's how you got into it.
Yeah, that's how we got into it. After a while, you see, there's something interesting about the human mind. You can adjust an awful lot of stuff. You can adjust to a lot of things that would terrify you to begin with. After a while, they become common and ordinary.
So you mean contact with the supernatural can become commonplace and ordinary and doesn't bother anybody?
Yeah.
In other words, the more that you do it, you're not uncomfortable.
That's right.
It's just not an uneasy feeling.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about it?
Then I got into a secret society that worshiped the spirits, you see.
Well, how is that different from the seance, Roger?
It happens that the seance are not involving in many ways. But when you get into a secret society of spirit worshippers, then, and especially when you're invited there by the direction of the higher-ups in the spirit world, you never get out of there alive. And this is exactly what my friend and I were up against. We didn't know anything about. And there was a very, very popular big band leader.
Jazz
band, yeah, very famous. And one night we went to one of these seances, and he was with his wife.
So Roger, you're at this restaurant. What happened?
We sat there and we had our favorite alcoholic beverages, you know. And as we talked, the band leader says, he says, I want power. I go right to the source of power. And he says, how do you think that I became famous the way that I am? Well, I said, you must have had some good luck. Well, he says, there's no such thing as good luck. He says, there's either some power working for you somewhere, or you don't get ahead in this world. Not in my type of occupation. So it went from there. We got talking about spirit worship.
Did it intrigue you? Did it make you want to find out more about what exactly he was talking about?
Yeah. So he said the supposed spirits of the dead that you're talking with are demon spirits. They're fallen angels. They're beautiful beings.
Just set it out, just like that.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't make you uneasy when he said they were...
Well, it shocked you a little bit, you know, something that you first hear mentioned to you. He said, you guys have got a great future ahead of you. Because we've been told, the high priest of our society, secret society, has been told that the master has very special plans for you too.
Now, what did he mean by the master?
Satan. And we were interested to hear more about it. And he told us, he says, look, we worship spirits. We worship Lucifer and all his angels. They're just as beautiful as they did before they were cast out of heaven. He says there was a misunderstanding in the whole thing. He says among the inhabitants of the galaxies. And he says our master was misunderstood. And God did not bear with him like he does with people that make mistakes today. So we're in a warfare, good against evil. And we happen to be the evil ones, but we're not that bad. He says, I look at this business between the forces of good and evil. He says, you believe in one person believes in God, and everyone believes in Lucifer. It's like politics.
So the great controversy is real. And you've heard someone talk about it that's on the other side.
And to these people, they are sold to the fact that Christ will not return to this planet with power and great glory. He's going to abdicate all claims to the planet, because the high priest once said that Christ will abdicate all claims to the planet because he knows that it is lawfully and rightfully Satan's.
It's headed by Daddy Janki. She's dedicated more than 70 years to travelling the world and spreading her teachings. She's even been an advisor at the United Nations. Now in London, our correspondent Emily Buchanan met her.
They call it a world spiritual university. In the hills of Rajasthan in India, the Brahma Kumaris aim to provide a soothing balm for the world's souls. Founded in the 1930s, their aim is to spread happiness and peace using the ancient practice of Raja Yoga. There are now over 5,000 centres around the world.